Okay, here we go. All right, welcome to another exciting episode of Gripping Golf. I'm your host, Billy Daniels, with my co-host, Daniel Brumley. How are you, Daniel?
I'm doing good. How are you, Billy?
I'm fantic. Well, it's early. Well, it's not really early, but
well,
it's morning.
It is for us. Yeah. We usually do this in the
Drinking
evening.
coffee.
No beer.
It's actually after 11.
Yep.
It's not even early. It's not even, it's practically noon.
It's not early.
What are we going to do? We are going to talk about wedge play today, right?
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
I think you and I have varying opinions of wedge play a little bit, so we're going to battle that out. Mine is based nothing on actuality data. It's just how I feel.
Well, we're heading down the right path, then.
That's why we have so many listeners. So how you been?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
When did we record last? Last week?
Yeah, it was about a week or so ago.
Okay.
Not this last Wednesday, the Wednesday before, right?
Before, yeah. Talked about goals.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I think I heard a lot of good feedback on online.
Good.
And no more reviews. People don't like us.
Uh-oh.
They like you, they don't like me.
Oh, is that how it is?
I've heard. There's rumblings.
There's rumbling. So, wedge play.
Wedge play.
So,
define it. Define wedge play.
Well, let's start from, we'll need to discuss shots, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where we start. So,
Okay.
We're talking chipping, pitching, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock type swings.
Yeah.
10 o'clock, 2 o'clock type swings, and then up to full.
Why are we talking about this? Why is this so important?
That's
one thing. Let's set that up.
Well, aside from putting, it's probably, these are going to be the clubs you use the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Totally agree.
So, and I think there's so many different types of club selections and shot shapes you can actually, go to.
Right.
That a lot of people don't even thinking about. Or, I mean, they're not.
Not thinking about it and maybe don't have the confidence.
Yeah, or know what to do in what situation because they haven't tried it before, they haven't been taught before.
Right.
So I think our starting point or a jump off point should probably be to talk a little bit about chipping.
Yeah.
Or do you want to go?
Well,
or do you want to go to the equipment side of it?
Well, I think we go to equipment, and then I was thinking because you're an excellent wedge player and understand the wedge game. I think talk a little bit. Let's talk about equipment, but maybe first talk about your learning how to play your wedges a little bit better when you were in college, because I know that was there was some advice or some tactics given to you at that point in your golfing career.
Yeah, I think the light bulb went off for me definitely in college. I mean, I was always a decent wedge player growing up, but I think I got a lot better in college. A buddy of mine and a very good player who was All-American at Kansas, Ryan Vermeer, we spent a lot of time on wedge play.
Yeah,
and I, as a younger golfer, still, kind of in the competitive realm, I still didn't use the bounce efficiently.
Right.
And I think it's something that people hear the word bounce, we're talking about bounce of a club, but they really don't know
what it is
or how to use it. Okay. Yep. So we're talking about basically the angle from the leading sole all the way to the back. There's a little bit of a degree on it. You can have anything from low bounce to, right around 6 degrees all the way up to 14. It's going to vary depending on the wedge.
Yeah. Meaning a gap wedge, sand wedge, a lob wedge, all.
I mean, every club's got bounce.
Yep.
Right. But you're going to have more variations and more grinds and things like that when you get into your, your gap wedge on through your lob. To start off, I think the thing or the light bulb that went off to me was, hey, how do I use this bounce and why is this so important? Well, you see, and you could even talk about it when Tiger kind of had a lapse in his chipping, right?
Yep.
The leading edge is your enemy in most shots.
Right. Leading edge of the club.
Because you're talking about a digging action.
Yeah.
Where you're getting grass between the face and the ball. Which doesn't control spin, and it doesn't help with trajectory or control the trajectory, and you're trying to do that.
And I think that's the biggest difference between you and me in terms of this type of shot. Is I think you have honed this skill a little bit more than I have, because I think you can get up and down from 50, 60, 40 yards more often than I can. But I think I'm better around the green for those tiny touch shots. It's not about me being better than you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm saying
going after me here.
No. I'm saying when it comes to this, you are a much better at.
You're talking about pitching versus chipping, then.
Yeah. I think your pitching game is much better than mine is.
Well, we'll go into that a little bit more. Not necessarily
later. I know.
Who's better than the other person.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding. But
we will be doing. I think you know we talked about this. We do some videos. Daniel versus Daniels.
Daniel versus Daniels. That's pretty good. Yeah. We will. We'll show some video of and it's about this, and especially wedge play equipment, things like that.
Right. Sorry, I totally changed the subject.
No, you're good. You didn't mind blow me. So
not yet.
Not yet. But I think it's really important to understand that it's the bounce is huge.
Yeah.
You've got to use it. You've got to make sure and it really is also going to depend a little bit on the grass type. Around here in Kansas, you can get some thicker fescue that you need to get out of the way of the ball.
That's what I was hoping you would talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
Is why different bounces for different grass types and different, we live in the transition zone here in Kansas.
Well, I think it's also not necessarily from a chipping standpoint or not necessarily from a very short pitch shot. But when you get into those, little 20, 30, 40-yard pitch shots, it also is going to start to depend on your swing type.
Yeah.
Because if you're a digger, you're certainly going to want some more bounce. If you're someone that's a little bit more shallow, you're going to want something that's
Tom Watson-ish.
Doesn't have much bounce on it at all, like 8, something like that.
Right.
But let's talk about that a little bit more. It also depends on the surface. If you're playing, there's a lot of Zoysia out here, right?
Yeah. Not at Sycamore.
No. Yeah. Sycamore's got bent.
Yeah.
And it's a little softer out there in my opinion. But they can get it to where it's firmer.
Yeah, it can be firm.
And you will want something that doesn't have an extreme overage of bounce.
Right.
So where we're going with this is how exactly, where are the benefits? What are the differences? What does this mean to me in my game? How do I go out there and how do I select wedges that are actually going to help my short game?
Right.
Well, I think it's first, hey, what is your swing type? Are you a digger? Are you shallow? Are you medium?
Right.
How do you actually...
What are you playing on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you playing on? What surface? And then from there, what are you actually going to be using around the greens and how are you actually going to use that club? If you're someone that has too much of the leading edge and are not opening up that face, that's going to lead to problems.
Right.
Okay. And if you're really steep, you're going to have even more problems.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting to is my philosophy on wedge play is that you definitely are using each pitch shot and a lot of the chip shots with an open face. What that does is that actually sits that club more on the back edge of the sole or the bounce, and you're using it almost like a wheel.
Yeah.
Or, think about it as a roller.
Yeah.
So, I wish I had a video of it, but if you watch some chipping out there from very, very tight lies, you never see any of the players stab at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It's leading edge, and there almost is a little bit of a tendency to relate it to a bunker shot or a, not as crazy, but somewhat similar to a flop shot.
You would have the club face open, but your hands forward.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you do it. You have to still have those hands forward, lying open, lying on the bounce. What's it's really contrary. Golf is a game of opposites.
Yep.
A lot of people think, well, am I just going to launch that ball straight up in the air? And the answer is no.
Right.
You can still control the flight.
Yeah.
By using the bounce, having it open, having your hands ahead of the ball.
Yeah, I was surprised because this is something you and I worked on last year before.
Yeah.
You were like, you need to work on your pitching, and you showed me exactly what you're talking about. And I was amazed the first time you hit it how low the shot went.
And it has spin on it.
Yeah.
Not a crazy amount.
No. Controlled spin.
But it's controlled spin to where, you have like a one hop stop type situation, right?
That's where I think for me with pitching and chipping is it's really in my mind. I'm just trying to control the spin and repeat the same, be consistent with my spin so that I know how the ball will release, or if I'm chipping up a hill, or if I'm pitching up a hill, or I'm chipping down a hill or pitching down a hill, I can understand that it's going to either check, stop, or it's going to check, roll.
See, for me, I always think about, how, if this was darts, how would I hit this shot? So I think about trajectory.
How is it going to get there?
I always think about trajectory. I don't necessarily think as much about spin as how I want the shot to look.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree with you. Yeah.
I mean, that's my, when I'm looking at a pitch shot or I'm looking at a chip shot, how does it want to look?
Right.
And then from there, I go to the club or the selection or type of shot I want to hit.
Right.
So, but kind of back to that pitching, it's still going to go low.
Yeah.
It's still going to have that.
Depends on how far the shot is. Yeah.
It does. It does. But it should still have, for most people in their minds, a kind of a low flight with some spin on it.
Yeah. I love a check, stop, or check, stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think but it depends on the shot.
Now,
I think it depends on the shot type.
Since we were kind of talking about that pitching and chipping difference, do you think that type of shot, having that club face over and having those hands forward, using the bounce more, using it more like a wheel so that the club face actually moves through the grass. Really what it does is that leading edge kind of deters the grass and kind of moves it forward rather than eating it up and then going, into the face and between the ball. Do you think that moves into chipping, or do you think the chipping is a different type of stroke or setup?
I think it's a different setup for me.
Okay.
For me.
Are you more of a back foot guy?
Yes. I'm a back foot guy. Okay. I'm more of a putting stroke depending on what the shot takes. I mean, that's the hard thing to describe here is I'm saying that for chipping, but it's going to be different for a downhill chip versus an uphill chip. I'm going to have the ball position slightly different. For a downhill, I might even have the hands a little bit further forward with that opening up so that it lands a little bit softer and it releases slowly versus an uphill where I'm going to want it to roll and get it rolling. That's
where you and I differ, because I believe that you should still have the same fundamentals in your pitching and then into your chipping there with not as much
That's why I'm a better chipper than you.
Oh, is that how it is? Well, we're going to test this out. But I mean, I think there's pros and cons of both.
Yeah. Well, and I think here's the thing for me, and you will have a very different. I think every person is different, and what works for them works for them. That's how what works for me. Is it fundamentally perfect? Probably not, but that's the way that I can repeat it. And that's the thing. Like everyone has a different body. Everyone has a different shape. Everyone has a different type of thing that they can do consistently. And that's just how it works for me with chipping. Am I doing it perfect? Probably not. But I feel like I can get up and down majority of the time anywhere around the green.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's hard though. But it also, for me, I think my approach to hitting chip shots around the green is different than yours. I'm a one club type of person where I use the same club almost for every different shot around the green. And that's
why is that?
I don't know. I think I just consistency again, comfortable with it. I can manipulate the ball differently with the same club. I don't have to necessarily change my club. Now, I think that I can preach both ways, because you could have the same swing, different club, different result, or you could have the same club, different swing, different result.
You could.
Yeah.
And I think that's where most people out there could benefit from a different club selection.
Yeah, and I agree.
Because the first thing you see when you're out there playing with someone that doesn't play so much is they're just off the green. They've got a good lie. Maybe it's kind of like a fairway type lie. 10 yards off the green, pins all the way in the back of the green. They have all the green in the world to work with. And the first thing they take out is their lob wedge.
Yeah.
And they could be taking out a 7-iron.
Right.
And just, hitting a little chip or pitch.
Right.
Depending on, what type of philosophy you have on that and running that ball out. And that's, the quicker you get the ball on the ground, depending on the undulation of the green and the break and everything like that, there's some things to consider there. It typically is proven you get the ball closer to the hole.
Yeah. Yeah. Get it on the green, let it roll.
Yeah.
Get it. Yeah.
Now, I would say it's a totally different shot if it's hey, this green has a lot of peaks and valleys in it, and I want to fly it more to the hole. And,
Right.
Eliminate
all that.
And eliminate all that because there's a lot more, computation got to do in your head.
Yeah. Risk.
Yeah. I mean,
no, I totally agree.
So, it's going to vary based off what you have.
I think ideally what in this just first little bit of the podcast so far, I think the message truly is you need to visualize your shot. You need to pick a shot and execute it with confidence. Because if regardless of if you go high or if you go low or something like that, if you're not picking an area on the green that you want to target and say, that's where I want to land it, this is what I'm expecting it to do after it lands, you're setting yourself up to not execute.
I think that's a great point because I think that then comes back to you, okay, here's my club selection, here's my setup, here's how I want to hit the shot. It's just like going back to what I was saying about, hey, think about how you would hit take a play darts.
Yeah.
How are you actually going to hit the bullseye?
Yeah.
And you don't think about it in terms of, well, I'm going to loft it up real high in the air and do this.
Right.
You should have that, that apex in your mind where it's at, where it's supposed to be landing, and then work back from there.
That's the first. That's the first thing I do if I'm pitching, chipping, whatever. Is I look at the green and read the green. Honestly, I go up and I kind of if I were putting, what would this be doing? And then I go back from that. I go, okay, where do I want it to land so it acts like a putt and gets to the hole? And it depends on the shot. If it requires a flop shot, I'm thinking, where do I want to land it close to the hole? But if it is something that now I will look at it from, okay, is it sloping left? Is it sloping right? Is it sloping away from me? Is it sloping towards me? And that all dictates. If it's sloping left, right to left, I'll look at it and go, okay, I want my miss to be right at the hole so that it feeds and I have an uphill putt. I don't want, or
you want to give yourself a proper leave.
Exactly. And that's really what I think about majority of the time is where do I want it to hit the green? Where do I want it to go from there? And then where do I want to be ideally to make the next putt or next shot? And not really plan for a miss. But
but you want to make the next shot if you miss the easiest one possible.
Right. I know that if a green is sloping right to left, I can hit it right at the pin and it'll be an uphill putt. Or I can leave it out to the right just a little bit. If I miss it out to the right a little bit, I'll probably be pretty close to the hole because it'll funnel down to the hole. Those are the things I think the average golfer doesn't necessarily think about every day. They're just, I think their initial thought is, I don't know how to hit this shot. What do I do? And then they're just trying to chip it close to the hole versus understanding how is it going to get, what's the journey it's going to take? How far is it going to fly? How much do I want it to roll? How hard do I need to hit it? So I think that's why I think when I said putting, my chipping is more of a putting stroke because I think I'm really thinking about how far do I want to hit the ball? What is my distance control versus thinking just rolling it to the hole. So, but I don't know. That's just my philosophy.
No, I think it's good. I think it's very interesting how everybody views things differently, and sees things differently.
You're more technical than I
know. I think
no, I mean in the proper placement, you're more analytical in your approach.
I think when I get over the ball though, like none of that stuff really, I think about it hardly at all. I mean, literally, I'm just thinking about what's the shot shape here? How high do I want the ball to go? And where exactly am I landing this?
Wow.
I don't really go further than that. I think, for me, like just the setup. And if you watch a lot of guys on tour with the way they pitch, just watch how they have the club on the ground. I mean,
it's when they zoom in.
When you zoom in, you'll see most of the guys are open. Now, when they get a bump and run, they will go a little bit more leading edge.
Yeah, but you don't see it very often.
No, I mean, and you'll see it in really bad lies.
Yeah, they're just trying to get the ball out.
You'll see the stab, in the bad Bermuda, So I think there is a shot out there for everybody. And
you have
every
to practice
situation.
It. Yeah, I think you do have to practice it, but I'm a big advocate of practicing it while you're on the green, on the course. I think dropping additional ball without sacrificing pace of play and stuff like that. But if you go out in the evenings, if you're a type of person that's out there practicing your game, you're trying to get 9 holes in and you're just out there by yourself or something like that, it's the best place to practice it.
Sure.
Is good friend of mine who plays a lot of golf, and he's a professional up in Chicago. He said, he goes, try to do it again. Even if you hit a good shot, just try to do it again and just see if you can repeat it.
Because that one good shot may have not been the right selection. Yeah, in the long run, if you're, hitting 20 shots, is this something you can repeat, or did you just get lucky?
Yeah, and even he said, I like this aspect of it too, is if you're practicing your game, and it depends on the type of player you are. If you like to go to the range and just hammer balls out there, and that's how you get better, or if you're a person that has to be out on the course, his advice for someone on the course was play 2 balls and always play 2. You may only, hit 2 drives off the tee, pick the best one, hit 2 shots again, pick the best one, hit 2 shots again, and just continue to use 2 balls all the time. Don't necessarily play 2 balls independently, but try to, repeat your shots each time. And I think it works.
It's good.
Yeah. So, but you can't, obviously, you have to be able to do something like that. You can't just go to any course and be like, oh, today I'm going to play 2 balls on every shot.
I'm going to play worst ball.
Yeah. Screw all the people I'm playing with. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yep.
So we'll talk, and we've kind of touched on some of this stuff, but maybe I don't think we elaborated very much on grinds, the different types of grinds. We talked about bounce, and I think if I could summarize the bounce, to me, I think the easiest way for myself to think about it is when I'm playing on Zoysia, I'm going to want something with less bounce. Am I saying that right? Or do I want more bounce? No, I want more bounce on Zoysia because I don't want it to dig.
Yeah.
But then on...
because it's already propped up.
Right. And so then on bent, I'm going to want less.
If it's...
because it'll dig
if
already.
It's firm.
Yeah.
Some bent can get soft, and it depends. Bermuda fairways. If you're playing in the desert,
hard pan versus,
I mean, that's probably. But you got to understand too that a something with less bounce is less forgiving.
Yeah,
because it does have a sharper leading edge,
right.
And if you do not use the bounce on that, lower bounce wedge, you're gonna dig more. Yeah. And you're going to have more errant shots. Yeah. That's why, typically speaking, the average golfer should play more bounce.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
But regarding grinds, I mean, there's also the aspect of sole grinds, right? So you could have multiple types of grinds on the sole, more leading edge impact, and then more on the back half of it.
Right. If you put the heel in, or if you put the toe in, and all that.
Yeah, well, and also right down the middle, you're talking about right off the leading edge, and then one that falls off, and that kind of fall off point where you have another grind that is, has even more bounce to it, and that's where you see a lot of the pros, use those grinds a little bit more. Like if you're talking about Titleist, Vokey wedges, they'll call it like an M grind, right? I mean, that's kind of the middle of the road, but it does have different levels of soles. TaylorMade actually has some of those built in on their middle grind 2s. They've got their ATV wedge, which is kind of have multiple soles on it. That's kind of a similar,
it's an all-terrain
thing.
Vehicle.
There you go, all-terrain. Why didn't they call it an ATW? All-terrain wedge.
That's
ATV.
so good. Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I haven't really read up much about that. But those are really beneficial wedges.
So how often, and I should know the answer to this, but that's a good point, that these grinds are different, and professional golfers are probably using different types of grinds and bounces as they go to these different types of courses as they're playing along
some
the tour.
Do, some keep them the same.
So they can be consistent?
I would say, yeah. I don't think a lot of people change those up a whole lot. I think that's experimental stuff that they get done before they go out to the course, and it's definitely more consistent year round. I know I wouldn't change it. Not to say that I know anything, but that is
you do know something.
I wouldn't change it just from a consistency standpoint. I mean, hopefully right now I have that wedge that has the 2 grinds on it. I'm going to use that back edge a lot. Yeah. If I change that up and I go to something with just a lot of bounce and no secondary sole, I'm going to struggle.
Did you change your degrees?
No, I've always been a 52, 58 guy, and that's pretty limited out there. Most pros are carrying 3 wedges.
Yeah, I do.
Or I don't like 60s. I've never liked them. It's just I hate looking at a frying pan. I mean, that's the way I see it.
Right.
And I've always thought, since I already play open most of the time,
right,
I've already created that 58 into a 60 or more.
Yeah. See, and I never played a 60 till 2 years ago, and I really like it. I think it's just because I can control the distance better from the fairway.
Yeah.
So that 80-yard shot and in trajectory, I keep it low, but I'm consistently closer to the pin with my 60 degree from a 80-yard to 100-yard shot, and just like you're saying, controlling the spin, controlling the flight of it, and that's what when my 56 was my go-to. That was I would be long majority of the time, so that's why I implemented it, and I really do. I like it.
Back in not even 20 years ago, everybody had a 56, and the 56 was the big deal.
Yeah.
Now most people don't even swing a 56.
Yeah.
They swing 52, 54, a 60, 64. I mean, anybody out there that doesn't play a whole lot, please do not buy anything that's over 60 degrees. It's just, I don't see anybody use that well.
Right.
It's typically very not forgiving at all. The leading edge on those are very sharp. You're going to dig, and you're not going to hit it anywhere.
Right.
That's my opinion on it. Unless you're a good wedge player, you shouldn't have one of those in the bag.
Well, and I play 52, 56, 60.
Yeah.
And I do think one thing I would say that I would change a little bit is removing the 52 or the 50 or the 60, depending on the course. Because I think that's where I could insert a different iron or a hybrid or a different 5-wood.
Yeah.
And
I think a 54-60 for a player like yourself is probably where to be, just from a link standpoint. And then that opens up your bag for another hybrid or something longer.
Right.
But there is, an argument to say that you're not going to use that longer club as much too.
And that's why that's why I hesitate to take the third wedge out.
But my argument back to that is you should be able to flight your wedges down.
Right.
And control the spin even with something that has less loft. And that's how I wish
I could go back and track, because I think this would be an interesting stat to have, and it would probably have some great insight into what is the best option, 3 wedges or 2 wedges, is how often I'm hitting my 56 versus my 60. And, am I just using the 56 only from 110, 115 yards, 120 yards, or am I using it around the green as much? I feel like I use it for chip shots every now and then, depending on what the shot requires.
Yeah.
But I would say I probably replaced my 56 with a 60 is what I ended up doing.
I think you're 54-60. I think the 56 kind of era is becoming dead.
It was standard for so long.
It was standard, and it was the highest loft for a long period of time. And it was the sand wedge.
Right.
A sand wedge was a 56.
Well, like the approach wedge was interesting. I feel like
50.
A 50, 52. I think that
used to be the old pitching wedge.
Yeah,
a long time
crazy.
Ago.
Yeah, now
it's changed, right?
Yeah. So I for me, my pitching wedge is 48. I think it's 48 or 49. The gap wedge is 52. Then I do 56, 60. So
yeah, I think eliminating that and just going 54 or bend a 53 to 59 and a 60 to a 59, something like that. I mean, you got to be careful when you bend clubs too, because you also create more bounce, things like that. So, but it's really interesting. I don't think a lot of people put a lot of thought into this. As far as club selection, and I think
it's really confusing.
Important. I think it's really confusing.
It's confusing.
I think pretty much everybody just looks at degrees.
Yeah. I want a 56.
I want
a 60.
Oh, Phil's hitting that 64. That must be great.
I need to do that. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's hard. And what I'm about to say, it's not meant to be mean to anybody, I think, but that comes down to the fact that the major companies, these TaylorMades, Titleists, and Callaways, clearly aren't doing a good job to educate the consumer on these different degrees of bounce and grinds, what they truly mean. I mean, I know Titleist does on their website have really, kind of educational section on it, but I still find it confusing because I sit there and go, what's best for me? I don't really, in answering the questions of like, what is your shot shape, or are you a digger, or what type of grass are you playing? Yes, that gets you started, but it's not evaluating your swing 100%.
No, it's not.
And we all think we swing differently than we do. And so I think that's that's where I think we could see some improvement, and that's where the game as instructors or professionals, I think, are eventually are getting to, of where they're understanding this aspect of what works best for someone's game and someone's shot shape, that they can make better recommendations. And wedge fitting, I mean, that's, you got to go get these things fitted.
Well, we don't ever talk about wedge fitting.
No.
Who out there really does it or markets it?
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say, I'm going to go get fit for wedges today.
Yeah. They just go get wedges.
You know, they're like, no, it's all about how far I can hit it and what driver I've got in my hands.
Right.
It's really important, really, really important.
Yeah.
So
what shafts did you put in your wedges?
See, this is interesting because I'm probably a lot different than most people on this subject. Most people will play something that's a little bit not as stiff in their wedges. One, swing weight will get a little higher. Right. You get a little bit more head weight in it. You feel it a little bit more.
Right.
But the trade-off to something that is heavier and isn't as flexible, that type of club is going to spin more. I don't want to spin it more than I do already.
Right.
So I typically
a heavier club will spin it more? Is that what you said?
More head weight.
Okay. All right.
Okay. More head weight. Something, if you've got like so if you have S300s, Dynamic Gold S300s in your irons, they typically will have a stock wedge shaft in your wedges, and that's something that is not as stiff, and it's got a little bit more head weight to it. It's going to spin a little bit more.
Yeah.
I typically, what I do, so I have KBS C tapers in my irons right now. They're X flexes, and I moved them right down into the wedges. What that does for me is it takes the spin off of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see a lot of spin on my wedges.
You just wanted to stop.
I just wanted to stop.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stop.
Yeah.
So, so you can do some different things. You can step your shafts too. Like you can put a 9-iron or pitching wedge shaft and a wedge. Do some different things to help with the flights. But that's typically what I've done is either put an X100 in my wedges or a KBS C taper in there and rock and roll. But that's different than a lot of folks.
I have X100s in mine, but that's the same that's in my irons. But
yeah. And I think it's for high spin players. I think it's a good option.
Yeah.
The thing about something that's stiffer in a wedge, it really doesn't do anything because there's not that much difference in the bend point.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
So you're not gonna. I mean, it's not like it's gonna lag, way behind or screw you up. It's just it's more of a little bit different feel in the swing weight and keep the spin off of it.
Probably affect the trajectory a little bit.
A little bit, I'd say. I mean, it may be a little bit more down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but just
with a heavier shaft.
I think that's more with wedges. I think that's more feel than anything else. You've got to decide if we're going to get technical on the shafts, what that is.
Right. What do you want?
Because it's not going to do a tremendous amount. It's going to do a little bit. So,
yeah. Well, let's start this pitching versus chipping argument.
Okay.
First, define.
Well, pitch shot would be something that's. I mean, I don't know if we want to put a yardage on it, but it's definitely something a little bit longer.
Yeah, mimics your full swing more.
Yeah, I mean, you could
closer, more similarities.
I don't.
No.
See, I hit a lot of those 60 and unders with a far more 60 yards and unders, far more narrow stance, far more open face, and a lot of bounce.
Yeah,
I mean that's the way I hit those for control and to keep the flight down and
lower flight,
keep the spin down. I don't want to hit my 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock type swing for a pitch there with my 58 or what have you, or a club and lead it with.
It depends on the shot. That's why I think it's hard to put, pin location, green, all that stuff, because I think that's why it's hard to put a yardage.
But if it's a middle of the pin right out in front of you, you got a little bit of yardage to work with. This is the shot I'm going to hit.
Right.
And I'm not going to go and dig into it like a normal shot, where it's a square face. I'm going to have it open, and I'm going to try to get that trajectory down with some spin and hold it.
Yeah. Hold it off through impact.
It's more, I would say, not holding it off, but more connected. You know, you know, that kind of the butt of the club stays with your belly button
Finish
more.
left.
Yeah, finish left. Finish left. A lot left.
Yeah.
Because you do have an open club face. If you can relate it to a bunker shot, that's fine, you know, and kind of swinging left, and the knuckles kind of go more up through the swing.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's like that to a T.
He is 100%. Yeah.
I'm not
bad advice from Daniel.
Giant flop shots here. It's something you've got to, I mean, watch a lot of the guys pitch on tour and see how they're open, see how they're connected to the club. You don't see wrist action.
No.
You know, you might see a little bit of set in the back, but not a whole lot. Yeah. And it's a lot of body rotation and connection.
Body eliminates the stabbing, I feel like.
It eliminates the stabbing, and it creates actually a good amount of spin too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, chipping, you define it.
Oh, me define chipping?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Back of the stance, I think for me, first thing is balls off my, I'm a right-handed player, so balls off my right toe, essentially inside right toe, big toe. And man, it's a more body swing, but similar to a putting stroke. I literally no wrist movement whatsoever is what I'm doing. I've got my hands head. I might have it slightly hooded is what I'd say, but it would still kind of have that open feel because that leading edge would be out there. And then really I'm just trying to turn back with engage my lower body, but not too much, but not just do shoulder action.
Hit it a lot with your left wrist, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep that left wrist forward and try to keep the hands in front of the ball. And that's all I'm really trying to do. And I don't want to say an abbreviated finish, but it's not all the way through. It's kind of that left motion too of keeping the butt of the club towards the belly button. It's very similar to pitching is what I'd say, but just less I think lower body rotation to it.
And I think we're talking a lot about the same thing.
Yeah.
I just think it relates back to, I think the swings are very similar. It just relates back to setup and how the club face sits.
I think the difference really is setup. Is to me, I
don't think you're changing really anything.
No, I think to me it's the speed of the swing, the rotation of the lower body in it. I might on a chip, I might have more weight on my left leg and leave it there versus where a pitch I'm going to be more like my full swing. I'll be forward, but I'll still have more lower body movement. Chip, I'm trying to not have as much lower body movement, but not be static.
How much do you use the toe on impact versus the middle of the face? I'm curious about that because you always hear
it depends on the shot. So that's a great question. So that's why I say it relates to the putting stroke, because a downhill putt on your putt, you want to put it out towards the toe because it kind of eliminates some of the speed that's going to be transitioned to the ball from the club head. So if I'm a downhill,
bends it a little bit, but still has a lot of rollout, right? I mean,
yes, it's going to roll. It's going to hit the green. So let's set this up. So say I have a 20 foot chip. Majority of it, say it's downhill to flat, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try to just bump it onto the green. Say I'm a few yards off the green. I can't just bump and run. Well, it's going to be more of a bump and run, but it's going to come from the toe is what I would want it to do. If I'm going up a hill, reverse it, I'm going to use more of the center of the club face and probably have a little bit more spin on it. And with a downhill, I'm just trying to literally get that ball started down and just like, this is, again, I go back to where do I want it to hit the green and what do I want it to do?
Yeah.
And I do want to have a dead. I do think about that stuff, but I don't at the same time.
Yeah.
Like
there's a lot of feel involved. There's a lot of repetition from years of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's so interesting because as we're talking about that, people are starting to realize, hopefully if you're listening, that there are so many different types of shots to hit.
Yeah. Well, you don't always have to hit it in the center of the club face is what I would say too.
Yeah. But I mean, there are so many different types of shots, from pitching to chipping to club selection, all these different things that you can actually go to your bag and figure out what works well for you.
Yeah, I even think I think even if you're in the rough and it's an downhill, I'm thinking hit it high on the toe. Is just dead.
Yeah. And I refer more to like, okay, club selection. So I would go back to, okay, well, this is uphill. I can use more club.
Yeah.
So I can use 8-iron now.
I can, yeah.
And then downhill, well, I've got to have something with a little bit more loft, you know, depending on the situation.
Same way.
Yeah.
That's the same way.
Yeah.
I think that first and foremost is it uphill or downhill?
Yeah.
And then it's okay. If it's uphill, I can be more aggressive with it. It's gonna stop quicker. It's downhill. All you're thinking about is controlling the speed of that ball once it's on the green. Okay. To me, I mean, I'm thinking about how to get it on the green, but I'm more focused on where do I want it to start like a putt and just roll to the hole.
So we've talked about chipping a little bit.
Yeah.
We've talked about pitching a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about wedge full swings.
Yeah.
And then what that means, not necessarily what it means, but how you can utilize spin to benefit you. Now, do you, when you hit your wedges, are you still focused on trajectory? What are you seeing when you're hitting a full wedge shot, or something that's that 10-2? I'm not saying that most people really. A lot of players aren't going to hit full wedge shots.
No,
they're going to hit something abbreviated, a little knockdown, what have you. But what do you see when you hit a wedge? Are you just thinking about yardage, or you think about trajectory? You think a combination of both? You think about spin?
I would say both, but it again, and not to sound repetitive, but it depends on the shot.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would 100% say I rarely hit full swing wedges. I think it's just an abbreviated swing, and I'm adjusting the club to control that yardage. And I could be hitting a 56 and a 60 from a same position, depending on what is necessary. Now, I tend to, with a 52, if that's about, if we're thinking in the context of full swing, that's anywhere from 120 yards to 135 yards for me.
That's a big 52.
But I'm really trying to keep it low. I'm really trying to keep it exceptionally low with a right to left ball shape on it. Now I say that because Sycamore sets up for me really well, where if I have to hit shots like that, there's very rarely shots at Sycamore that require a left or right shot. So I think that's why I like, first off, I think why I like Sycamore so much is because I can play my natural draw, and I like to hit a drawed shot in on that 52.
A lot of people like hit draw wedges.
Yeah, I love it. And I think if I can think of one hole out there is 5.
Okay.
Number 5. I think that is it's a dog leg left. You can go over the trees.
Just thinking about that hole myself.
You can go over the trees, but like if you're playing the tips for me, if you're playing all the way in the back, I tend not to try to go over those trees. I just try to get out to that 125, 140 yard, and then the shot from there is an easy drawing a wedge or hitting a 52. Yeah, for me.
So when you have that shot, and I like that hole a lot too. It fits my eye pretty well, and the green is also right to left sloping.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we're talking about drawing some wedges, you're gonna have hook spin on them.
Yeah, yeah.
Where the ball's, instead of gonna peel straight back, it's gonna peel back a little bit, right to left.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about a spot that's gonna compensate for that pull?
So last year I. Twice on number 9, hold out from the middle of the fairway.
Wow.
With exactly what you're saying.
That's more of a cut green.
Yeah, very much. Well, it was front pin.
Okay.
So
did you right to left?
Yep. Right to left. So here the yardage was 108.
Interesting.
I hit a low 56 from a right to left angle, and that green again slopes right to left from the front, and I played it out about 4 yards to the right of the pin, and it did the hook spin, and it launched forward, then came back from a right to left and went in the hole 2 times.
See,
and I love that shot because I'm trying to hit like a push draw essentially. Yeah. So I'll put it out there, let it come back.
I'm completely opposite. I don't see that shot into that green.
You don't see the shot that I'm seeing, or
were you talking about 18 or 9? I'm getting
9.
Oh, okay, 9. Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
9 is right.
Yeah.
So 18, which used to be the old 9, is par 5, and that's a left to right, shot, and it's a left to right green.
Yeah.
So I think if we bring this back to putting and missing on the high side, you should try to miss your wedges on the high side from a spin
that's what I'm doing
too.
Yes. Yeah.
You're going to leave yourself, from a wedge play standpoint, more of a chance to either get it on the, the underneath the hole, but with the spin, or possibly make that shot. If you miss it on, if we're talking a right to left type green,
right, it's gone.
If you miss it on the low side, it's gone.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say earlier is that hook spin into a green in that right to left. A right to left green is I'm aiming right of the pin. For the thought of, okay, this is either going to be really close or I'm going to have an uphill putt. And that's where you want to leave it. You don't want to. Now, I think that's 18, which is the par 5. That is a harder shot for me to come into the green, but I'm starting to try and play it a little bit different, is driver off of it no matter what. And then try to get down closest to the green as possible, because that 100-yard shot or 80-yard shot from on that green, because it is left to right, is harder for me. And I tend to miss left on the green, and then you have a hard chip.
Well, I think one thing for those that are starting to play, and they're starting to play more, and they're starting to see their abilities to improve and do these types of shots, one thing to acknowledge, you can't shape that shot with a wedge or produce that type of spin unless you flight it correctly. If you just hit it high, you're going to hit it high, and it's going to stop and go straight back. You're not going to get those right to left pulls or the left to right pull. And you see this, I think, I guess for our viewers to think about Tiger out of the bunker last year with that shot to where he hit that big, bender out of the bunker, and then it had all that cut spin, 30 feet of cut spin, just something ridiculous. I mean, that's exaggerated and probably something no one else is going to do. But what I'm saying is that's a good example of the spin types. And where to leave it. And
that's just what people have to think more about. The average golfer has to understand, without sacrificing the pace of play. That's where I keep trying to come back to of don't become paralysis by analysis. Like don't overthink
not
it.
At all.
And I think that's where you and I not differ, but that's where I sometimes you'll say something like, I'll ask you, well, what are you thinking about? And you're nothing. And I'm like, really? Nothing? Because I'm like evaluating, like I feel like the quad processor is going off in my head sometimes when I'm stepping up to hit a shot. I'm like, okay.
Well, going back to that number 5, and that shot that you were talking about with that spin, I think the same thing can be utilized, from someone that's not able to do that as much. Okay, so instead of taking your pitching wedge out, hit a little bump and run 9 or 8. Because that's going to produce that same type of little shot, and you're going to utilize that slope, and you're going to be on the right side of the hole, and then it's going to drop down to a putt that's going to be uphill.
People are too proud.
They're too proud. They're like, I got to hit this because that's what everybody hits.
I'm 120 yards away. That's what I'm going to hit.
That's wrong.
No,
if you're able to walk it back there, guess what? You're probably going to leave yourself a lot better.
Oh my gosh,
a lot better putt.
Yeah, you're going to be happier. Like just getting people to think about it differently. Of like same result.
Yeah,
maybe a better result.
One of the things we're doing here really soon is we're going out to the golf course. And I'm going to get to tell you what shot to hit. And you're going to tell me what shot to hit. And we're going to see how that works out.
Every time you're going to
every time it's like, hey, no, you're not going to hit that. Oh.
Cut. And I'm going to be like, I can't.
You're going to be like Chip. I'm like what?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, cuts don't exist in this. I need new clubs. So
yeah, but I think to sum it up, like, wedge play, everything mimics everything else in your swing. So putting filters on up through the long game, wedges, the irons, the whole deal.
I think at the beginning of this, as we were kind of talking about what we were going to talk about, I really was of the opinion that it's drastically different in my mind. But as this conversation has gone through, I'm just sitting here going, oh my gosh, it is the pitch and chipping swing. There's differences in the setup.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go at it. We were going to go WWE.
You convinced me.
No, I mean, it's just, I think it's a mindset of setup more than anything. And when that light bulb went off to me in college, it was like, hey, this is how you have to set up to the ball to hit this.
Right.
And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Right.
I'm going to hit this thing straight up in the air. And I started hitting shots. I'm like, I'm hitting it lower.
Yeah.
Which is what amazed me. When I was chipping it. Yeah. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make sense. He's like, yeah, well, it totally does make sense because, if you're hitting down on the ball too much, the ball is going to go up further. Right.
And
if you're shallower to it, it's not.
Right.
Even
right.
with an open face. So
Right.
I know that sounds really weird to most people. That
And I think that's
right
where
now,
I had a hard time. No, I think that's where I had a hard time getting used to it, is having that shallow attack. And because
but you don't have the variance with the grass connection, right? You are
right.
not going to have as much, divot. You're not going to have as much grass between the ball. That's the purpose.
Yeah.
It's to alleviate the misses.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been good.
It has been. It has been.
It has been. So let's summarize wedge play. What we talked about. What did we talk about?
Well, I think we pretty much come to the conclusion that it's set up.
Yeah, it's all set
up. It's visualization.
Yeah,
it's trajectory. Mm-hmm. It's the club type.
Right.
Right. It's important to know what exactly you're taking out of your bag and how to use that tool.
Right.
So once you select a shot shape, you have to select the right tool for that.
Right. And I think I think that was one thing I would add on is understanding what degrees you truly need in your game of your wedges, of your wedges. Do an evaluation of it, and like you said, don't go play a 64. You don't necessarily need that,
If I see you with a 64 out at Sycamore, I'm going to tell you to go trade that in and sell it and go get something else. So I am not afraid to tell anybody that's not worth their time unless they're a really, really good player.
Yeah, it's the
and
Phil
they hit it
Mickelson,
an absolute mile.
Right, right. That's the only reason you would need that to control it. So
I can't stand 64s.
Yeah,
really.
All right. Well, close it out now.
Close it out.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Gripping Golf. If you have any questions for us, you go ahead and not call us or email us because we don't have email addresses associated with Gripping Golf.
We'll get there.
But we do have Facebook. We're on Facebook or on Instagram. Leave us a message. Send us a message. Like us. Share us. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to the rest of the podcast. And we'll be getting more and more episodes out every week. So
yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.